If you're thinking about moving to Little Rock, Arkansas, this video is going to save you hours of Googling and probably a few bad assumptions. I'm going to walk you through the real pros and the real cons of living here, not the sure-coded version and not the everything's terrible version either. You'll learn what housing actually costs right now, what your tax bill will really look like, and what the job market and weather are like, which neighborhoods people love versus which ones to avoid, kinda. By the end of the video, you'll know whether Little Rock is a good fit for your life, not just a name you saw on best places to live. You probably didn't see that. Before I get into it, I'm Aisha. I'm a local realtor here in Central Arkansas, and I help people relocate to this area all the time. A lot of them are from places like California, Texas, and New York. So if any part of your story sounds like theirs, you're in the right spot. If you're already thinking about buying, selling, or just exploring what a move here would look like, I'd love to help. There's no pressure and there's no cost to just ask questions. All my contact info is in the description, so feel free to reach out anytime and book a call. Now let's get into what you actually came here for: housing cost and affordability. Let's start with the number one thing people ask me about, and that's housing. As of right now, the median home price in Little Rock is sitting around 220 to 250,000. That number swings a lot depending on what part of town you're looking at. Hillcrest is one of the most popular and most walkable neighborhoods. Homes run anywhere from 200,000 to 450,000. First-time home buyers can still find move-in ready homes under 160,000 in Little Rock and in places like Sherwood and Jacksonville, just right outside of Little Rock. If you're looking on the higher end, Chenal Valley and Pleasant Valley are where you're going to see luxury properties. They're going to be anywhere from 500,000 and up. Compared to a lot of the country, that's a serious breath of fresh air, and it's honestly the number one reason people relocate here from higher cost of living state. Here's something else worth knowing. If you're coming from a state like Texas or Illinois, Arkansas doesn't charge a real estate transfer fee, and closing costs here typically run around 3 to 4% of the purchase price, which is on the lower end nationally. If you're a first-time home buyer, the Arkansas Development Finance Authority offers down payment assistance up to $15,000 for qualifying buyers. So when people ask me, is it actually cheaper to buy? Yeah, it is, both in sticker price and in what it costs to get to the closing table. Taxes. What are you going to be paying? Taxes are where a lot of my out-of-state clients get pleasantly surprised. Arkansas property tax rates are among the lowest in the country, with an effective rate around 0.6 to 1.1%, depending on your zip code and school district. On a $220,000 home, that typically works out to be anywhere from $1,300 to $2,200 a year. And if it's your primary residence, you can get a homestead credit of $375. Compare that to Texas, where effective rates often run over 2%, or Illinois, where they can hit 2.2% in some counties. You can see why this would matter for your monthly budget. On the income side, Arkansas's top income tax rate has been dropping steadily down to 3.9% currently, and lawmakers have signaled they intend to keep cutting it. Where it evens out a little is sales tax. They're going to tax you somewhere. You know what I mean? Arkansas has a 6.5% state sales tax, which is actually the second highest state level rate in the country, though the groceries are exempt from the tax entirely. So the honest breakdown is this: low property taxes, moderate and shrinking income taxes, and a slightly higher sales tax. For most people relocating from high tax states, the overall math still comes out strongly in your favor. Cost of living beyond housing. So let's zoom out from just housing and taxes. Little Rock's overall cost of living runs about 5% below the national average, and that gap is even bigger if you're coming from a major metro. Groceries here run roughly 5 to 8% cheaper than the national average, and a mid-tier sit-down meal for two typically costs $35 to $55 compared to $65 to $90 in a lot of cities. Utilities typically run, this is for a family, between $180 and $280 a month. And summer electric bills do run higher because of air conditioning demand. If you're moving here from a place like San Francisco, Chicago, or New York, the day-to-day cost of living is going to feel way lighter on your wallet. Jobs and the local economy. If you're relocating for work or hoping to find something once you get here, it helps to know what is driving our economy. Little Rock's job market centers around healthcare, government, banking and finance, and advanced manufacturing, with major employers like UMS, Baptist Health, the state of Arkansas, and Falcon Jet anchoring a lot of the stability. The metro area has actually been setting employment records, with non-farm employment climbing around 392,000 jobs in the central Arkansas region this year. It's not a boomtown like Austin or Nashville have been, but it's steady, diversified, and been ranked among the most diverse local economies in the entire country, which matters if you're worried about one industry collapsing and taking the whole local job market with it. The weather and climate. Let's talk about that, because this is the one people don't research enough before they move here. Little Rock has a humid subtropical climate, which means it's hot and sticky during the summer, with highs averaging around 93 degrees in July and mild winters with highs around 50 degrees in January. You'll get about 50 inches of rain a year, and every winter we normally get one ice storm that shuts down the city, which is kind of nice, unless you work in healthcare. Then you still got to go to work. Anyways, that's just part of life here. So plan for a generator or a backup heat source if you get nervous about that. If you're moving from somewhere like the Pacific Northwest or Northeast, the summer humidity will take some adjusting. But if you're coming from Texas or the deep South, you'll probably find our weather mild in comparison. Neighborhood. Where do you want to live? A lot of people ask this more than anything else. So let's break it down. Hillcrest and Soma, South on Main, and Petaway are some of Little Rock's most walkable neighborhoods. Hillcrest is full of tree-lined streets, locally owned restaurants along Kavanaugh, and a strong mix of families and young professionals. West Little Rock and Chenal Valley are where you're going to find a lot of new construction, higher priced homes, top-rated schools, and larger lots if you want more space and a quieter suburban feel. If you're looking for a small town feel just outside the city with easy commutes, Maumelle and Sherwood are both really popular with families relocating from out of state. The Heights offers some of the most established and prestigious housing stock in the metro. Now, I wouldn't be doing my job if I only told you the goodish. I feel like that's goodish stuff. So let's talk about concerns. Little Rock's overall violent crime rate does run above the national average, but there is context to that. It's heavily concentrated in specific areas. If you go and look up crime maps, you can see where the clusters are at. You can also call the local police department and just ask them. You really can't ask a realtor because we will get in trouble because that's against the rules. So I would look at the crime maps and I would drive the neighborhoods and talk to the neighbors. People are honest and they're happy to talk to you. You don't have to avoid the whole city to find a safe area. The other honest con is the summer. It's hot. It's humid. It's hard for us who have lived here our whole life. And it's hard for people coming from cooler climates to adjust to. Air conditioning bills spike in July and August. And that's why I normally tell people to do levelized billing as soon as they can. School quality also varies a lot by district and even by zip code. So if you have kids, that's a research step that cannot be skipped. And I can help you walk through that. None of these are deal breakers for most people, but they're exactly the kind of things you want to know about before you sign a contract, not after you've moved in. So that's the real and honest breakdown of what it's like to live in Little Rock. The affordability, the taxes, the job market. And yes, there are trade-offs. If you want to go deeper on where exactly to live, I'm going to do a quiz and you can take the quiz and see what works best for you. You can also check out the video on the best neighborhoods in Little Rock and see which neighborhood seems like the best fit for you. If you're seriously considering a move, reach out using the link in the description. I'd love to help you figure it out and see if this is the right fit for you.